What's up, you Bobs and Nancys, you Giuseppes and Charlene's? This is the Fighting Words podcast. That may not be your name, but I said hey to you anyway. Welcome. I am Ryan Galati. I am joined by Zulfi Sheikh, or Zulfikar if you want to be official, and Spencer Kloss, or Spen Doggy Dog if you want to be unofficial. Today on Fighting Words MMA, do we really have too much of a plan, guys? I feel like we're just kind of going to do some little fun matchmaking ideas just because as much as we want to get into the journalistic world, we're also fans and have things we want to see, right?
Yeah. Plus, there was no card last weekend, so
I was gonna say sometimes when you get into a fight, you go in with a plan, and you get punched really hard in the face, and that plan goes out the window. Our version of that is the couple fights that are happening in the next couple weeks. It's not the prettiest. It feels like a punch in the face right now. Nothing's going on, and we don't really like it. So
our version of that is we never have a plan.
Yes.
I mean, there is a little bit of stuff coming up, but I feel like, they're going to get coverage by your most trusty UFC and MMA journalists that you may see with several followers on Twitter. We're here more so for the fun portion of the sport side now. So I guess we'll do a little matchmaking. We can talk about, I guess, a little of the news that's come out recently. Just kind of fighting and like fight announcements and stuff like that. One that, we don't have to talk about too much, but I'm extremely excited for, as we are a Canadian podcast. Mike Malott versus Gilbert Urbina. Really excited for that one. I think it's going to be fireworks, and I think I'm going to see Mike Malott get his hand raised, which is going to be a fun time. One that I wanted to ask you about early before we get into the matchmaking thing, because it's a fighter that I think is one of the most entertaining fighters for me personally. Jamal Hill got announced to go fight Khalil Roundtree Jr., which I think is a big rig collision on the Highway 401. What do you guys... Oh, okay. Sorry. I guess we're saying where our location is. Do you guys have any thoughts on that one going in? Because I'm like extremely excited for what that one could be made out to be.
Yeah, it sounds like a great fight. I know that we're all really familiar with Khalil Roundtree Jr. because I'm pretty sure, shout out to Zulfi, I'm pretty sure you wrote a story on his last fight, did you not? On Sportsnet?
Yeah, I think it was during a fight night, I'm pretty sure. I talked about it, kind of recapping it a little bit. And like you both said, it's this violence waiting to happen. This is going to be a lot of fun. These are two guys who have like a lot to prove in different ways, I guess. Like Roundtree is just one of those top, like, again, violent guys, hard hitters, but he wants to make a name for himself and move up. And then Jamal Hill, like 6 days after losing to Alex Pereira, he took this fight, which again says a lot. I think maybe you can argue it was like because there wasn't a lot that happened in that fight. He took one big left hook and then he was down. But also I think for him, it's just like he wants to get back in there. He wants to prove something and he wants to just keep relevant because his big thing was like, I didn't really lose my title at first when he got injured and had to vacate it. But then after losing to Pereira, a lot of people probably worried he's just going to fall down in this division and maybe like fall into obscurity a little bit. So for him, it's kind of a way to stay relevant and stay out there. To fight so soon after that, I think is really interesting. And it's going to lead to, like you guys said, a lot of fireworks in this matchup. So it should be a ton of fun.
I do think it's hilarious that Jamal Hill's like chin essentially got broken like a week ago. And they were like, all right, who do you want next? And he goes to like the most violent dude in the division that is built like a brick shithouse. Like I occasionally will get like Instagram videos that come up or like TikToks, something like that. And it'll just like be like captioned Khalil Roundtree's least violent finish. And it's him just like kicking a downed opponent in the ribs. And I'm like, whoa, let's look a little deeper into this one. But as far as other announcements go, have there been any that you guys can think of that kind of excited you in recent times?
I mean, there's the big one. Spencer, you can talk about it.
I was going to say there's two big ones, really. I'm not sure. I'm sure you're referring to the biggest fight announcement probably in 3 years because that's the last time he fought. Yeah. Conor McGregor finally got announced. And then there's Islam and Poirier, which got announced for a month earlier. So there's I think it's two back-to-back months of just pretty strong pay-per-views again. But quickly before we move on, I just want to say that one of the most underrated moments last year from Roundtree was when he KO'd Anthony Smith and he just came at him like this. I think it was Herb too, which made it even better. Herb just comes sprinting in, and that was just his stock's way up. But I just want to mention that before we move on. But yeah, two amazing fight pay-per-views coming up. I was gonna say fight nights, like crazy. 2 pay-per-views coming up. I want to know from you guys. Quick question, fire question. How long till Dustin Poirier shoots a guillotine against Islam Makhachev and gives up his top position?
I am
Over
going
under
to
1.5
I'm going to hope the answer to that is never.
Yeah.
Because that's just 1,000 ways to die.
If he's following the Holly Holm strategy of fighting your opponent, then a lot sooner than he probably should.
Don't fuck up on that.
Hey,
you hate
that. He did it against Habib, so I'm not counting it out.
I couldn't imagine a world where he like willingly gets in there, especially as a guy that's like never won the belt before, to be like, okay, I need to take this one seriously. Let's not do anything stupid. 30 seconds in, boom, just like jump Gilly. I can't imagine that ever happening, but it's also Dustin Poirier.
He is a man.
It also worked really well for him against Benoit Saint Denis. Like it was kind of the way he was getting out of the takedowns. So he might have, and he's really confident in that move, but I don't think it's not smart, like you said, against Islam. So
no, I would argue, can you consider it getting out of a takedown when you are in turn put on your back and it doesn't work? I would say that's just himself taking himself down.
Yeah, but it's like it was working. I mean, also ABSD just got super gassed, so we won't put too much stock in it. But yeah, I do really good fights coming up.
I do have a question about the McGregor Chandler whole debacle, because we've been waiting 2 years, it seems, of just rumors around it, and they hate each other, but they won't fight. Idiots. There's talks, and like DC was on his like new show with Chael Sonnen talking about it, that they're gonna try to manufacture it to be something for McGregor and turn it into a super lightweight fight. That was the little kind of discussion going on. I don't think it's going to happen. What do you think of that idea? Because like there is obviously in boxing terms, like lightweight has 3 different divisions within itself. There's like I don't even know what they're all called. Super lightweight, blah, 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 blah. That can't work in MMA. Do you guys agree?
Yeah. I just think it's too dicey, and like, I don't know. It just like convolutes things more than you need to. Like it's simple MMA. It works. The penalties of being overweight, stuff like that. And like, I just think both these guys need to just get in the ring and give people a show for what it's worth. If the talk going into it ends up being like all the semantics of it all, I think you're really just taking away what this fight's supposed to be. And I think like the whole McGregor Chandler hating each other to me also feels a little manufactured as it is. I don't know. Like you guys may hate each other, but like McGregor's been so away from the UFC game for a while that like it feels like he's kind of just coming back in and again manufacturing a bit of this so he can hype up his fight and promote it. So, like, I think that already in itself doesn't feel the most genuine. And then you add more, like, stipulations and things into it. I think you're just taking away from the reason why people want to see this fight happen. It's just 2 guys get in the ring and beat the piss out of each other.
Yeah, no, I do agree with you. Spencer, do you have anything?
Well, first of all, on that fight alone, they were rather friendly on The Ultimate Fighter. So it feels kind of the only moment they had a beef was when McGregor, like, growled in his face. Which this is like a meme now. It's really funny. But they were rather actually friendly. I mean, it's probably because McGregor was losing every fight. But I have a proposition for weight class. This is what I always thought it's for a long time. If they were going to add a weight class, they should add 165 and then just move 170 to 175, because then you have every 10 pounds all the way up to light heavyweight, and then you have heavyweight. I think that's the only way it would work. I think when they were going to add like a 165 division and keep 170, to me, like that makes no sense. And it like just kind of ruins the idea of MMA, because you're right. Like that's a boxing thing. But I think if they were going to do it, like they would just should keep it every like 10 pounds. But
doesn't that screw the divisions below over though?
Like, what do you mean?
Like if you move 155 up to 165, then what happens to like 145 and stuff? Is that just
not move 155? Like if they were to add a division, just add 165 and then move 170 to 175. So then you have 125 all the way up to 205. Like every 10 pounds is a division. That's the way I think it would work.
I don't mind that idea. I just think it's kind of crooked if you like add that for McGregor's first fight back in 3 years, and then all of a sudden it's a title fight for this new division between Michael Chandler, who is entertaining but doesn't really win fights, versus Conor McGregor, who is probably still with traces of cocaine in his system.
Very much so. I'm surprised he's been passing these drug tests, if he really is. Who knows? But like, yeah, to your point, Ryan, like you don't need to manufacture this into a title fight. You don't need to make it more like the names himself is enough for the hype. McGregor fighting after 3 years, Chandler being the type of fighter that he is and the style that he has. I think both these guys just meeting in an octagon. That's the fight. Like, you don't need to, like, again, you can. I would hate for them to even try to manufacture a title for this, let alone like even if it was something more like cheesy, I guess you could say, as like the BMF belt. That's not going to work now because Max Holloway, nothing's beating that ever. So like you're not going to do that either. So there's no real belt to fight for. These guys aren't in title contention right now. So why make it happen? Just let these guys have the fight that they're meant to have and let us all enjoy it.
The press conference itself too will sell this fight, right?
Yeah, and they don't need a belt. Like McGregor fights don't need a belt. Like that's the one fighter that literally a belt doesn't actually change. Like to me, it doesn't change a single thing about the fight. Like either way, everyone's gonna watch it. So
no one's watching that to like see a belt get wrapped around McGregor or Chandler at the end of what's been those guys off of fights for a long time and not really with any wins in their recent time. Like, how do you go from 2 straight losses to Poirier for McGregor and Chandler just getting his chin seemingly cleaned or getting choked out every single time he goes in there, even if he's putting on a show, and be like, congrats, you're the champ? Yeah. That doesn't make sense. It doesn't.
And like, if whoever wins, no matter how impressive it is a majority of the fan base really going to also then be like, this guy deserves a title shot now, get him up there? I personally don't think so. So like, really, I don't think a title has a ton to do with the stakes of this fight, either like during it or after, to be honest.
No, I agree. I think it's just one that's going to sell itself. It's what McGregor is best at. I mean, you put his name against seemingly anybody. It could be someone that doesn't speak English or even is just purely mute. McGregor will still get something out of it. He has enough of a fan base that has honestly always terrified me, how a guy that doesn't fight seemingly ever is still like one of the most talked about guys in the entire, organization. That's
a cult following.
Yes, it absolutely is. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think they need to add anything to it. I do think the hate is more on Chandler's side towards McGregor's at the moment because I don't think McGregor gives a shit about him. There's not really too much to prove in that sense. I do like that, like, Chandler had that one like moment on Monday Night Raw, I think, in the WWE, where they just like randomly gave him a microphone in the crowd, and he was like, "McGregor, I'm gonna knock you out." I was like, "What the hell is this? Why are you here?" There's like
a great promo though.
Wrestling.
Yeah. Sorry.
I don't know. You
unnecessarily. That's unnecessarily funny.
Oh, thanks, man. I tend to have that effect on people. As far as other announcements go, I don't think there's too many, but we can, if you want to, start making our own announcements because that's something we said we were going to do. On our last episode, we got through your guys' 2 games. My game was a very non-creative one. I was just going to call it the match game, like that old 90s TV show that, like, people go on and they I don't actually know what the purpose of the show was. But I was just going to put the word maker beside it. So it's the matchmaker game. It had been like kind of copyright, but we're not big enough. So it's fine. Anyways, that's my rant. I didn't really make too many rules to it. I just figured you could kind of go through just fighters that you like, fighters that you think need a fight sometime soon. Off the bat, are there any that jump out to you as fights you want to see happen? One guy versus one guy, champ versus challenger, whatever it may be. Is there anything that stands out to you guys?
Well, Zulfi thinks I don't actually have one yet, but I do want to quickly shout out Paulo Costa. Did you guys see his video the other day? Speaking of a matchmaker, because he has a fight coming up against Sean Strickland. It was like a skit video where he gets the call, or he pretty much he's watching Dana White's video. And he's like, oh, and I got to know here. He's like, co-main Paulo Costa, Sean Strickland, 5 rounds, and he like looks shocked. He's like, 5 rounds. He's like, how many weeks is this? He's like, 6 weeks. He's like, he starts freaking out riding the bike, like, and then at the end he looks exhausted. He's just like, catch weight, and then the video just ends. But it was absolutely hilarious. I'll send it to you guys after, but it's really funny. Fights we want to see coming up. I have
an answer if you want to think about it.
Yes, please, because I have to look at the internet.
So, like, I will preface by saying the way I approach it was just like a matchup I want to happen. There's no practical realism to it. It's probably not going to happen. It's just like, if this was a dream scenario, this is one I would love to see just because I think it would be entertaining as fuck. I I want to see Alex Pereira fight Tom Aspinall in the heavyweight division, just because Alex Pereira. I'm sorry, I've seen nothing challenge him at this point in most of his fights. Yeah, he was caught by Izzy and whatnot, but in the light heavyweight, wherever he's at right now, I'm starting to forget already. He beat Jamal Hill. He beat Yuri before that. Yuri probably is going to come back for another title shot soon with the way he fought in his last fight. But so none of that really excites me, and I feel like Alex Pereira is a step above everybody else in that division. But then I look at I think he mentioned it too, and he alluded to it when after he won that fight about going to heavyweight or doing something that's going to be a different challenge for him in the future. And I love that idea. John Jones, I don't know what the fuck's going on with him. Again, I love him as a fighter. I don't know when he's going to fight and when he's going to figure this out with Tom Aspinall. Tom Aspinall, I want to see fight again. A very, very exciting interim champion, and I think he's a fun fighter as well. So I want to see him get back in there. And I don't really know what else in the heavyweight division excites me besides Aspinall versus Jones all that much personally. So this would just be a dream scenario. I would just love to see it because I want to see Alex Pereira continue to just challenge the boundaries. He's just had this insane start to his career that not many fighters have had in UFC. So for me, it'd just be insane and fun. And it'd be something, again, just taking on the next challenge in Alex Pereira's legacy, because I don't know what else he has in the divisions that he's currently dominated to challenge him.
Well, and I do think, just to kind of touch on that one, because I actually do agree that's a fight that at some point I want to see. I think Pereira needs to defend at least one more time in the light heavyweight division. I'm not a huge fan of this whole idea that it's hey, you're this champ now. Which division you want to go to? It's just it's getting a little overkill. The fact that even immediately being a Sean O'Malley fan, as he beat Cheeto recently, and I think that was his first defense. And then everyone was like, hey, give him to Puria. What the hell? No. That guy's huge, Spanish, bearded, and scary. Keep him away for 2 fights at least. I think it's absolutely insane to kind of think that approach. But I do agree with you. And the thing that I think is interesting is I think people are going to favor Aspinall, assuming when that happens. Yeah. Just because it's a step up and Aspinall is that technical. And I think the people that favor Pereira, just because of his power, you kind of need to remember that Aspinall beat Pavlovich in the first round when Pavlovich threw heavy and Aspinall just countered and won against the scariest Russian. What was that guy's who's the guy from the Rocky movie? Drago?
Yeah, Ivan Drago.
Yeah.
Ivan Drago? Yeah, that's what Pavlovich is. And Aspinall just shut him down. I think that'd be a really fun fight. I think it would favor Aspinall for that reason. But Pereira just can do God knows what things.
I think that's what makes it so interesting to me, because you would probably favor Aspinall, rightfully so, the interim champion, and like you say, such a technical fighter. But then all Pereira's done so far is live up to all these challenges. He's already gone up a weight class and was able to dominate 2 different divisions. So I think that's part of it. And the other thing, I mentioned, in the heavyweight division currently, the biggest obstacle is the whole John Jones Aspinall thing, figuring this out. And we just don't know if there's going to be a resolution to that anytime soon with the way things are going. So I just want to see something happen, because it's the heavyweight division is supposed to be one of the most exciting divisions in all of UFC, with just these haymakers all the time. And you're just not getting that at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, Tom Aspinall is just. Oh, keep going.
I was just gonna say, as just to talk about Pereira quickly, as an Izzy fan, do you think Pereira is ever going to return to middleweight, or do you think he's happy where he is and going up?
I don't think so. I think he's going to stay at light heavyweight, and has nothing to do with Izzy. I'm also a huge Pereira fan. I'm a huge fan of both. It might be blasphemy to some people, but I actually really love both fighters. I think he's going to stay light heavyweight. He just seems a lot more healthier, and the weight cuts is way easier on him. That middleweight weight cuts, he cuts 50 pounds. It's just ridiculous. And I think I think he has a better chance of going to heavyweight for sure than he does going back to middleweight.
You know those old video games / phone games where to go through levels, you just go along that map that has one very specific trail. There's just level, then level, and that's how you move through the trail. Yeah. That's what it seems like Pereira's doing in the UFC. It seems like he started in middleweight, and it was kind of one of those mountain-looking trails. And he started there and then got everyone out of the way. And then Izzy was the boss battle of that one that he needed to complete. And then once he completed it and he lost, he was okay, now I'm on to level 2 of the mountain. And he's going up it just seems like he's on like a one-way trajectory. Like it
100%.
doesn't seem like there's much of like a snake and ladders effect. It seems like it's just ladders.
And that's the thing, like, yeah, he's like every boss battle that's come up so far, he's conquered. So like,
Yes.
really, like that's all. That's the only thing I think for a lot of like mainstream MMA fans or like UFC fans, like that's what's going to excite them at this point. It's just Asper just having more boss battles because he's just shown that he can keep doing it.
Yes.
You know what's a perfect analogy for the second Izzy fight? It's like when you beat the boss battle, but you accidentally click the same level again, so you just lose right away, so you can go to the next level.
Yeah. That's actually
I didn't mean to click this one again.
Where like you're playing Mario and like you defeat Bowser and then you accidentally like go down your controller and back into the castle.
Oh
like,
yeah.
Like, I'm just gonna lose. I don't need to beat this again. I already got the path unlocked.
Yeah, I'm sure that's what his mindset was going into that fight.
That's it. We figured it out.
He's like, I already know. I'm switching to this. You know what, Izzy? You can take this one.
That'd be a great fight, though.
Are you ready for my dream matchup that has no bias behind it?
Let's hear it.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Bo Nickel versus Hamzat.
Oh my god!
Give him, beat him. Give Hamzat reason to prove that Bo Nickel sucks. I'm tired of that guy already, and I want him to be fed to the wolves. And who better of a wolf than Borscht? Give him. I don't know. That's actually not like much of a dream matchup. I actually probably wouldn't even turn that fight on because I'd assume the massacre that's going to take place. Spencer, do you have a dream matchup? Because the more I think about it, I'm like going division by division. It's hard.
You wanted Bo Nickel, Hamza. You got Bo Nickel, Jacob Malkoon. So next best thing.
No, that one got canceled, I think.
Did it get canceled already?
I'm pretty sure like Bo Nickel backed out. I think Malkoon's
already. Yeah, Malkoon's actually underrated. That would have been actually a decent fight. But a dream matchup, I'm gonna go with one also kind of stemming from 300. At first, I was gonna say Moicano Holloway just because of the tweets, but I'm not doing that to Moicano, my boy. But that would be a great fight. I'm gonna say Kayla Harrison, Amanda Nunes. I think that's kind of one that's off the books, but I think everyone would get really excited for it because they used to train together, and I think there's a great narrative there. And just Nunes to come out of retirement, it would either be like a passing of the torch moment or like a I still got it moment. So I think it would just be a great buildup, and I think the fight would deliver as well because I think it would either be Kayla Harrison proving to everyone that she's just that much better at grappling than every woman apparently ever. Or Amanda Nunes proving that jiu-jitsu doesn't exist and just kind of getting a KO and piecing her up on the feet because I think her striking would be miles better. So I think that the buildup would be great. I think the result would be good, and I don't know. I think not most people wouldn't think about that until the fight was announced. I mean, it was the reason I'm only thinking about it is because it was a big narrative last week or 2 weeks ago. Sorry. So it's fresh in my mind. But I think that if that fight got announced, I think there'd be a lot of excitement for it.
For me, I did think about this one, and I'm not even gonna give it as my my dream matchup. I'm just gonna, take the role of Sean Shelby, put on my Sean Shelby shoes, and just make this happen. Ooh, Sean Shelby shoes. That sounds kind of fun. I'm just gonna take the role here. I mentioned him already. For the belt, I want to see Sugar Sean O'Malley versus Piotr Jan 2.
Okay.
I think Sean O'Malley's like weirdly fun thing he's doing with the title. I mean, obviously he needs to fight Merab because there's stuff there. But assuming he can win, I do still think the blemish, I guess you can say, on Sean O'Malley's like reign, apart from now the Cheeto thing, because he clearly got past that one, is that everyone's like, oh, well, he lost to Piotr Jan. Like, there's still that one that's up in the air and like was a judge's decision that could have really gone both ways. I think that is the next one that should be made, but Merab has done a really, really good job of selling himself for the next title shot, and he deserves it because he was just awkwardly like his little pet waiting under Aljo for a long time. Always made me really uncomfortable. Don't really know why that was happening. I like, as a fan, obviously I want to say that I hope he beats Merab and then gets the Piotr Jan fight. I do even think if he loses to Merab, he should get the Piotr Jan fight. Like, I think just regardless, that's the one that he should prove. And I think it works both ways, because if he loses the belt, then it becomes, before you get a shot again, prove yourself against your now other blemish, and then go back to the title fight. And if he wins and he has to defend against someone new, give him the guy that gave him the hardest time, apart from Cheeto. You know? Am I Sean Shelby? Or am I
Sean Shelby's shoes are fitting.
No.
Yeah, you're cooking a little bit here, I gotta say.
I was trying to make a pun with Sean Shelby's name, but it didn't work. I was gonna say like Sean Noelby, but that doesn't. What does that mean?
Yeah, I'm glad you didn't say that, even though you
I know Nerlens Noel.
Yeah, I like it. I think that's the thing with Sugar Sean. Like, he's a champion, but I think you're right, Ryan, in the sense that like for a lot of people, there's still things that he can prove to them as a champion and as just like a fighter at the top of this weight class. So it's for him, if the more he checks off those boxes, the more solidified he is at the top there. It's not like one of those things where like he's got him there and that's all he has to do to prove himself as that number one. I think you're right that like so for a lot of people there are blemishes and questions, and he did kind of dispel a bunch of that with the Cheeto fight, but there's still more he can do, and for him to do that, I think it's going to be big for his legacy at the end of the day.
Did you guys happen to see the video that Sean O'Malley posted after the Ryan Garcia Devin Haney fight? Did you see anything about that?
I did, but I can't remember it. I can't even remember the context of the video.
In like the boxing fight between Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney, the biggest kind of piece of hate on Garcia was that anytime Haney kind of came close to throw punches, Garcia's defense style was turn around, ass out, hide your head. And it was just really, really ugly to see and like not a way you should box. So Sean O'Malley being Sean O'Malley completely dug into that and posted a video seemingly like the next day. Just it seemed like it clicked right away of just like, basically all the video said was like me if I was Ryan Garcia, and it's just like him doing his classic thing of like running up and like going like this and going like turning around every single time. So then it was actually becoming a conversation of like, yo, Sean, like get in the boxing ring or whatever. Like I think Garcia even said something about him, which terrifies me because I don't think it would end up well at all for Sean O'Malley. But I did think it was really funny, and his meme abilities I still think are underrated.
Yeah, I saw that video and I actually didn't really watch the boxing fight because I'm not a boxing fan at all. I watched like highlights and I saw like all the knockdowns and stuff, but I didn't see all that stuff. So I did see that video and I didn't get the context.
Oh yeah, like, just because Garcia was doing it like the whole fight. Like it was just ass out, punch my back. It was just very weird defense. And Sean O'Malley just for some reason chose to dig into it. God knows for what reason. He's just a bit of a school threat, I guess, but it worked, I think. I don't really know how. I don't know what his goal is with those kind of things.
He wants to go see a fight.
What?
You think he does?
He wants to. Yeah, like he publicly said he wants to Garcia fight, so it's probably just.
Yeah, but like, does he? That's like a whole new sport, man.
Yeah, that's a different beast.
And this is a guy who like trains in sunglasses and a backwards hat, going like underhand punches towards a punching bag. Like, let's be careful, Sean.
I think Sean's just all for chaos. Like that's just who he is. And like when you said like I don't know what his goal was with it, I don't think he had one. I think the guy is just out there to just cause some commotion, have some fun, and be funny. And that's kind of what got him to where he's been. And it polarizes a bit. Some people love it. Some people either hate it or I guess don't understand it. And I think he's just going to keep doing that.
Yeah, I think it's like uncomfortable to the point that it's great. I'm a huge fan of it. It gives me like, is it like the old like Tony Ferguson training videos? Do you guys remember those?
Yeah, I think he's like elbowing the speed back.
Yeah, it's just like the most random garbage of all time. It seems like Sean O'Malley like just like brought those to the next level of was just like, let's set up an obstacle course in the gym for God knows what reason. Like it just happened. But apart from that one, I don't know. I guess making dream matchups is kind of hard when you don't put it into like I feel like a lot of dream matchups are like, oh, I want to see GSP versus Habib. But like we're trying to keep it realistic here. You know?
Yeah, I think I want to go back to like Spencer's Kayla Harrison versus Amanda Nunes. I think that's like not underrated, but it slips under the radar of like a potential fight that could happen because like the exchange after Kayla's win was like a little brief because obviously Amanda's retired, but then she even posted that video reacting. I know you talked about it last time too, Ryan, but I agree with Spencer. I think it could be a really, really fun fight. I don't know if it'd be like the next fight for Kayla Harrison. If we're being realistic. I think they'd want to kind of see a bit more of what she can do against some of the current UFC fighters. But like in terms of just like the background and context behind it, just what fight fans would want to see out of a women's matchup, I think it would be a lot of fun just to like, again, different styles and just fireworks. I think there's a lot to be had there between those two. I don't know if you had any other thoughts on that, Ryan. I know we didn't get to it first.
I've always been under the belief that Amanda Nunes's retirement was not an I need to retire. It was an I want to retire.
I agree.
And those, I think, always lend themselves well to a retirement return. I mean, to any McGregor fans listening to this, you can vouch for me because he's done it how many times? There's a difference when your body absolutely gives up on you, and in her position where she just didn't. I'm not going to say she gave up on her body, but you can even tell like her kind of excuse after her first loss to Juliana Pena was like she was out of shape. She wasn't like she didn't take it seriously, that kind of thing. She definitely has more in the tank. And if that Kayla Harrison fight can become intriguing enough to her, I don't see why she doesn't take it. Because I think it lends itself to that kind of Chris Cyborg idea where, like, let's be honest, Kayla Harrison's build is that of a cyborg. She is jacked to the gods, like unbelievable physique, and has the skills to back it up. I don't know who I would take in that fight, even if it's like, especially if it's like over a year from now, because, you know, that's where rust comes in, and Kayla Harrison is, not even arguably, she's in her prime right now. That's why she's entering the UFC. I think my early hand would lean towards Kayla Harrison, but I also haven't seen enough from her because she still needs to get a belt. I think that's the only way Amanda Nunes comes back is if Kayla Harrison gets the belt and starts talking her shit.
She's probably only a fight or two away. That division's really, really thin, so
yeah,
could be soon.
I wouldn't be surprised if they give her one more fight and then the title fight.
Yeah,
but that sounds about right.
Also, knowing Dana, though, I think he just wants to sell, and if there's an agreement on the table, I don't see why not. But I do find it funny that Amanda Nunes, like, first fight, recorded her reaction as just like, Chama. I'm like, okay, this is just a full Brazilian thing now. Sounds good. Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think of other. Can I ask you guys a stupid question because we're already at the 32-minute mark, and I'm wearing a hat.
Yeah, go ahead.
Away.
That's my reasoning. Is I'm wearing a hat. If you can't see this on video, I'm wearing a hat today that says Stone Cold Steve Austin. This has raised the question for me. Yeah. Sorry, that's LA Knight. That's raised the question for me. If there is a UFC athlete that you think would make the best WWE superstar, who would it be?
Oh, that is a good question.
I was going to bring this up earlier, but Michael Chandler's got to be right up there. I want to think of a different answer, but that's just got to be one because he's jacked to the gills, can yell on a mic, and can do backflips. So
honestly, I literally just mentioned
I want to think of a different answer.
I think Michael Chandler just is LA Knight in the UFC.
Yeah, basically.
That also checks out.
They look similar. They just yell a lot.
Catchphrase.
Can I give like a horrible answer? Because it wouldn't last long. Sean Strickland.
Oh my god.
I think he'd get
boxing guys up.
I just think he'd get canceled really quickly, probably on like his first promo in the WWE.
Yeah.
they'd have to deal with that a lot, but I think it'd be like hilarious.
I know WWE isn't like PG, it may be like PG-14 or whatever, but like I don't know if like the TV like licensing or whatever boards are gonna allow him to talk the way he talks on like national television.
Sportsnet, I think, or just Sportsnet still shows it, right? The WWE
still for the year, yeah. It's going to Netflix next year.
Oh yeah, but I mean, let's say that Sean Strickland made his debut. I don't think they'd love showing that episode.
No, it'd be a conversation that would have to happen at the highest of levels, I assume, of what they're gonna do in terms of a game plan for Sean Strickland on national TV.
Oh, you know, also, okay. I guess Spencer, you go.
I just want to say one more thing about Sean, and then you drop your truth bomb on us. But also he would just, as soon as someone like offended him in a promo, because sometimes like they say some stuff that's too far, because he'd like just start actually punching people. And like, yo, Sean, you know this is fake, right? And he's just like boxing them up like he's boxing up Sneeko. But anyways, yeah, I want to hear this other one now.
I don't know how familiar you guys with like WWE and their whole history.
Very familiar right now.
Do you remember? Oh my God, what was his name? Do you remember Jack Swagger?
Yeah,
I remember the name.
He was in Bellator forever too.
Yeah, but Kate, Jack Swagger, when he had that whole American thing with that bearded dude, I can't remember their name. Oh my God. My answer is Colby Covington. I think they'd bring back Colby Covington as the overly American, just pro everything America, and just put him up against like every foreign person. They probably can't do that anymore, to be honest with you. But Colby Covington in there as just like wearing a MAGA hat, like every time he goes down, and just like being this like real American vibe. I hate Colby Covington, but I think it would work.
I mean, maybe they can't do it against other nationalities, but like I don't know, isn't Logan Paul the like American champ right now or something? Have him against,
but like he's
him against Kobe. Try to have just America off, and they just try to see who can be the bigger patriot and the I guess the more passionate redneck.
I mean, I'm gonna go with Colby all day on that.
I probably would too.
Interference! Here comes Bryce Mitchell.
The first ever like WWE redneck match where like some of the weapons available are like Waffle House chairs and like
it's just gonna be looking like a full barn setup. One of them makes an entrance on a tractor with their cousin, and then it's I'm just saying,
no American fans.
Now you're giving ideas that they can't air. That's messed up.
330 million people down the drain.
But or they might be like, this is representation, and they'll be happy about it.
Actually, yeah, like the East Coasters gonna be like, yes, it's funny.
Yes, this is our people.
It's like their first show in like Birmingham, Alabama, which is yeah. No, I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that question. I thought there'd actually be like more people, but I'm realizing that like the mic skills necessary mixed with like the physique and stuff would be very interesting. Give Renato Moicano a chance, really. I mean, we're big fans of him here.
Yeah.
I think Izzy would be like a really good heel. He'd be good at playing like a villain or just like being the guy who just says screw you to the crowd without being as cancelable as Sean Strickland.
Yeah, I think he could be a fun one. Anime entrance of all time. It would literally be like the most manga series looking thing. Imagine as Izzy at WrestleMania.
Yes, the thing.
God like knows what he's bringing out.
WWE would love that because you can like style merch around it. You have a whole audience that would probably get it really enthused with it. I know Japanese culture really loves wrestling as it is. So like having a guy like in the WWE with like that huge anime influence, I think they would be all on board for that.
I do think it's only a matter of time, too, with that TKO deal between UFC and WWE. I think there's going to be some weird crossovers at some point. But that was a really random question. I don't know if it really made that great of answers. We gave probably horrible recommendations to any WWE people listening. We don't have a Twitter that you can send your hate to, but we do have an email if you can figure out what it is. Do you guys have anything else? We're at the 38.5-minute mark.
Just to build on that, they are doing an NXT event at the Apex. I don't know how the hell is that going to work, but
I did hear about that.
Yeah, it sounds
that
stupid.
Is the first crossover.
I do find that interesting because like one of the biggest sells about UFC events is the crowd and the atmosphere for it, especially because like when you have like a kind of a scripted, more or less type of event, like just the fan reaction is what really does sell it for the crowd and make it feel real. So not having that, I don't know how that's going to work.
Yeah, usually NXT crowds are like rather small and like compact anyway. So I wonder if they're gonna like put bleachers in there and like pack. Like I hope they do. If they don't, if they make it like an Apex event where there's just nobody in there, it's gonna be super weird. But
they're gonna have to fill it though.
Yeah, they'll have to like legit
for, like, UFC Apex cards. Like they still put bleachers, but they are not what they would need for.
No, they need to fill it up.
Also, do you know if it's going to be in an octagon or like are they going to put in like a wrestling ring?
They'll put a ring. I think.
No idea, but I assume a ring. But again, no idea.
Where are they even going to do entrances? Are they going to put up screens and stuff? Because like they can't just have them open the door. Like that's just
I don't know.
Ruins the purpose of WWE entrances.
I don't know. I don't actually watch much NXT, and that's like a huge fight. So, but based on usually how the crowd looks, I think they can make it work. But they have to like transform the Apex, and it's again at that point, it's not even gonna look like the Apex. So,
the new NXT champion Trick Williams Phenomenal entrance. Yeah, whoop that trick. Zulfi, do you know this?
Yeah.
I do not.
Oh man, his entrance is so good. He goes by Trick Williams, and for some reason his phrase is whoop that trick, and he has like kind of a hip hop ish beat. Like I'm gonna put it as the outro today.
Okay, I'm looking forward to listening to this.
It like literally the whole crowd just the entire time just goes whoop that trick, whoop that trick. And it goes weirdly hard.
It's pretty
And then
hype.
Booker T gets
That's
into
cool.
it. It's a great time. It would suck at the Apex though, and from what I've seen of it. So, yeah. Anyways, we'll see how that one goes. This has been an all over the place episode. I mean, it was bound to happen. The first two we had a little plan. Third one, why need a plan? Turns out we need a plan. To all you Bobs and Nancys, and I can't remember the other names I said at the start, something and Charlene's, I think. Thank you for listening to this episode of Fighting Words MMA podcast. Spencer, what can you be found on Twitter? That's not an English question.
You can find me on Twitter at Spencer_Kloss, CLOSS for the last name. There is actually a UFC card tomorrow, so hopefully it ends up being some bangers. It's not the biggest names, but hopefully there's some great fights on it either way.
Zulfi, same with you. What's where can you be found at?
I can be found at Zulfi_Sheikh, ZULFI_SHEIKH on Twitter/X, on Instagram. DM me, let me know if you hate my topics and picks. I don't care. Just let me give us feedback. And also, I'll shout out the Phyllises of the world. Hope you have a good day. I don't know. The name just popped up in my head when you were talking, right?
If there's a Phyllis listening to this, I gotta put that in the description somewhere. Anyways,
shout out Phyllis.
Go whoop that trick. Go pump that brakes. What? My name's Ryan. You can find me on Twitter at Ryan Galati1. These intros and outros are something, man. Until next time. Bye bye.
Okay. Oh, there's no bumper. Great.
Yeah, there is. I'm gonna go blah, blah, and then we're gonna be laughing, and then it's gonna be whoop that trick, whoop that trick.
All right, well,
why are we still recording topics, Spencer?
It's all bumper.